Right, this is a quick road test, and this is for a Lexus IS250, and this is the F Sport automatic, and this particular car is registered RV60FFB, and mileage at the start of this brief road test is now 90,974 miles. Reason for the road tests, as I say in all of them, is very simple. We are selling to customers now from all over, Europe, the whole of the UK. The internet is made looking for cars much easier, especially sort of something that's quite different and unique, a bit like this one. And we feel it's right that you get to see the car in operation prior to come to see us. That way, if there's any issues with the car, we can relay them back to you, and we do so as well. And the road test's also done on the same road test route as any prospective buyer would go on as well, so it should be representative, hopefully, of what you should feel yourself. As I said, I do bring up issues. If there's any issues with the car, I will do so. I've done it in my previous videos, and it doesn't. If I don't mention anything, it doesn't mean that there is anything untoward. Just that there just happens to be nothing on the car worth mentioning. So, starting with the car and the engine itself, the engine starts first turn of the key, or press of the button I should say. Sorry, the other phone's ringing, so I'll wait for that to stop 1 second. It settles to a very, very even, very smooth, very quiet idle. They're wonderful, wonderful units, they really are. And this one's a fantastic example of one. It's so effortless in the way it goes about its business, and the drive of the car. So really wonderful, wonderful engine. No warning lights on the dashboard relating to the engine, or any other part of the car for that matter. Engine obviously then goes through into the gearbox, and it's another typically brilliant Lexus gearbox. Seamless in operation, absolutely beautifully done. It just feels beautifully engineered, and that's exactly what it is. It just goes about its work in its kind of an imperceptible way. It's got a toughness attached to it. They're very, very hard wearing. Clearly you should do all the tests on the engines, which is the most obvious one is driving the car, see if there's any sort of thumps into gear or otherwise, or engagement, and on this one there's none. Also do the static test, where you just put it into neutral, then straight into drive, then back into neutral, into reverse, and just see if there's any delays in the engagements of the gears, which would suggest internal gearbox wear. Very rare on a Lexus, more common on its kind of European counterparts. But it's the way the two come together. They work absolutely brilliantly. I love this. I've said it before in these videos with this 2.5 litre engine and this gearbox. It's just a really great match, and that's not always the case. Manufacturers are inclined to try and put weedy little engines in the hope that these sort of static laboratory tests give headline fuel economy figures, whereas on the open road and in the real world they don't match it. And this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You can also use the gearbox in a couple of ways. You can use it in full auto mode, which is what most people will drive it in, but should you come to wanting to make an overtaking manoeuvre, you can just tap it into S on the right hand side here, go up the gears that way, or down the gears that way, or you can use the paddles on the steering wheel here, and it's really nicely done. So if you imagine sort of car in front tootling along quite slowly, but in automatic mode, when you put your foot down, get the kick down, halfway through the manoeuvre, obviously it wants to change up as early as possible, and you're left stranded. Here you just tap it down, there are 3 gears, put a foot down to accelerate, up the gears and go, and it's just, and you're done. You fly past the car, and you're not left worrying whether the car's going to suddenly change up halfway through the manoeuvre, and it all works absolutely perfectly. Car, basically, it's just got a rock solid feel about it. Steering tracks bullet straight. There's no vibrations coming back to the steering wheel at all. It feels like brand new in my hand. In fact, the whole car feels astonishingly fresh and original. It genuinely beggars belief that Lexus can make cars as well as this. This is a stunning example of their engineering. The steering has lost, it just feels, as I said, literally like brand new. There's no slack in it, there's no slop in it, there's no vibrations, nothing at all. Likewise, the suspension of the car, it's got the perfect balance. It's got a firm, positive ride, but it's not uncomfortable in any way. It's beautifully damped, beautifully judged, beautifully resolved in the way it goes about its business, and there's no clonks, no bangs, no horrible little clanks that you get from these little anti-roll bar links or drop links. It feels wonderful, and if anyone comes and drives the car, can, you know, pull me up on it, I'll be amazed, because I simply cannot fault the driver that at all. Brake pedals, got a lovely solid brake pedal feel when you hit the brakes. You know, it pulls up straight and true. You give them the shove, and it's just straight away. It goes down all its haunches. Just check the cruise control function a second, and that's working absolutely perfectly. There we are. Also, as I'm driving along, listening out to noises that shouldn't be there in terms of kind of wind intrusion. You know, if it had a replacement windscreen that was badly fitted, or someone had damaged a door seal, you would make what is a very, very, very quiet and refined car. It'd be really annoying. You just have this kind of horrendous wind hiss, and I've had it in cars before, and it's horrible. But this is exactly what you'd expect. You know, it's beautifully, beautifully refined. Looking inside the car, I mean, I'm sat here in these kind of half leather sport seats. Obviously, they're got electric memory settings on them as well. Brilliantly comfortable, really, really comfortable seats. Looking around in here, I am really struggling to tell this apart from something that's, you know, rolled off the production line. It's in stunning condition. I think there's a tiny little mark on the glove box there, and I'm being really horribly nitpicking here. Obviously, this is the later facelift version of the Lexus IS250s, so you get this new style sat-nav system, various different switches, but they haven't lost, in essence, the simplicity of the interior, which I absolutely love. And the build quality is absolutely astonishing. That doesn't even feel like it's going to squeak or rattle. That's that feeling you get from the car. It's rock solid. It's a wonderfully, wonderfully built vehicle. They really are. Every switch, every actuation of every control you touch and feel, you know, primary or secondary, has a beautifully engineered feel to it. It really, really does, and it all works fabulously well. Air conditioning pumps out lovely cold air, so I'm just going to put the temperature down again. So I had it on earlier, but I will do it again just to double check. Dashboard itself is simplicity itself, but it's a class act. It really is. So that's lovely cold air coming out there, by the way. But the gauges are simple, legible, you easily assimilate the information. It's just all the information you need. Temperature gauge running just under half, which is exactly where you want it to be on a Lexus car. Obviously, we've got auto lights, auto wipers on the vehicle, on the specification vehicle, and then the steering wheel, which is a lovely sporty feel to it. You know, I like it's actually not stupidly thick rimmed. I hate these ones where you've got to hardly get your hands around them. This is the perfect size, but it just feels brand new. It's ridiculous how fresh the car feels. I'm not just talking about a car that's cleaned up and tarted up. I'm talking about a car that actually just feels fresh and new in your hand. It is really, really remarkable, this car. Obviously, on the steering wheel here, we've got the multifunction steering wheel, hands-free function, because you've got multimedia pack on the car. That means you automatically get the Mark Levinson stereos, which is a very, very high quality stereo unit. So if you like your music, you'll love this car. But then you get the hands-free telephone system as part of that. But it genuinely, and as I alluded to at the start, you know, if there was a fault, I'd mention it. I can't find anything. It's just gone through the workshops and sailed through MOT. It's pre-delivery inspection, and it's going to go off for an MOT within the next half an hour or so. But a wonderful car. I mean, it's something that's very different from the obvious choices. You know, sporty cars of this type, you'd probably be looking at kind of S-Line, Audi, sort of lesser AMG C-Class, and sort of 3 Series of various incarnations. But the reality is that, none of them are anything like as reliable as this. Probably only the Mercedes is as refined as this and as comfortable as this, but it's pretty wooden in the way it goes about its business. A4, as I've said on my previous videos, I just don't get them at all. They're a nice badge, but they're just dull to drive. They're utterly one-dimensional. 3 Series is the only one that would, is genuinely the sports car of the bunch, and it is. I'm not going to pretend this is as good as the 3 Series in that respect, because it isn't. But it's pretty damn close, and it's more reliable, and it's totally different from the obvious ones. There's hundreds of thousands of those damn things running around. But more importantly, I can drive down this road, which is notoriously bumpy, which is why I use it on test drive, and it's laughable in the 3 Series. It's just so hard, it's ridiculous, and that's how they get them to handle. But anyway, that's by the by. Point of the video was to show it's an operation. Clearly, if I've missed anything on the video, I do apologise. It was not by intent of design. If there's anything I've missed on the video, don't hesitate, please do give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. But it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful car.